Good evening, good evening, good evening. It actually is evening here in the UK.
No lies for once.
Absolutely no lies for once, and no pre-recording. We are live, ladies and gents, and it is the eve of Thanksgiving, not the eve of the other holiday in a couple of weeks. But yes, welcome to 2 Minute Warning. This is the high-paced American football podcast in which the time is in short supply, but as we always know, the opinions of myself, Matt, and Jez certainly are not.
Other way.
Jez, that way, or that way. It's
the
like the weather. I've got my voice back, much to your dismay.
I was going to say, we can't have it all, can we? We can't have too much of a good thing.
No. We do have a new little feature at the bottom of the show as well, which is pretty cool that I've noticed this tonight.
Yeah, do you like
How
that?
How are you doing? I love it. Absolutely love it. It saves me doing all the flipping research on the scores.
I mean,
You've done it for me.
It's work in progress. At the moment, it just does, current NFL scores and one set of WWE results. But there'll be more. We'll have a bit of Formula One standings and what's coming up this week in the NFL, and more than one show of wrestling. Do some AEW and stuff as well. So yeah,
it's fine. It's just scrolling past as it bumped down to WWE that my New England Patriots that I didn't get to talk about beat the Falcons 25-0. So hey, but anyway, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a Wednesday. I will say that it's gone very quickly, but I'm looking forward to a nice day off for Thanksgiving. Well, I say a day off. I've still got some work to do in the morning, but mostly day off for Thanksgiving, and to get some extra football in.
I've still got to work, regular job 9 to. Well, I'm not going to say what time I'm finishing because my boss might be listening.
Working 9 to 9:05. What a way to make a living!
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's nice to have the voice back.
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my wife will also disagree. Have my and my kids.
Yeah.
But
it's not the only thing that's come back, and it hasn't been missed in the chat. It is the return of Crown Beret.
Hey, look, it's there.
Yeah,
up here. No mispointing about that one. It's not down there. It's up here. It's fine. It's after the watershed. We'll get on to Crown Beret later. But yes, aptly named by our long-standing supporter Tamzanaki. I think it was last Christmas.
It was last Thanksgiving, and then I'm sure you'll do the same this year. But it started at Thanksgiving, and you just carried the turkey straight through December and into the the Christmas period. Yeah, Tamsin doesn't want to know what you're wearing down there.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, I'm not.
It's a different head entirely.
Yeah, not a turkey one. It's after 9 o'clock. It's post watershed, but there we are.
I can hit the explicit tag if we need to, but I don't think we will need to because we've got a lot of positive things to talk about and some negative things. But we'll get cracking, shall we, with a little bit of news first. Then we'll talk about our standings and how things are going prediction-wise. Then we're going to look through every division in the league, look at the current records of all the teams, and just generally do a bit of a state of the league kind of thing. We're more than halfway through the season now, so it seems like a good point to take stock. Thanksgiving is all about taking stock and being thankful. So some teams will be thankful for their record, other teams not so much, but we'll get into that. And then obviously we will predict the three Thanksgiving games that are going to take place tomorrow. It's hard to say 3 Thanksgiving in a succession. Did you know that?
I'd have just gone with 3 Turkey Day games.
It's still multiple T's. You've still got some alliteration there.
It's too many T's. Too many T's for a Wednesday night.
Multiple Thanksgiving games. numerous Thanksgiving games. There you go. Use different letters at the beginning. But I digress. Let's crack on with our first topic. And this is one that we have discussed previously, but it now looks like a bona fide thing. The United States Football League, or USFL, is prepared to give spring football another try. And on Monday, the 8 teams that will open the first season of the new league in the spring of 2022 were revealed. Let's get... actually, I'm going to read the teams out first, and then I'll put 2 minutes on the clock, so we've got plenty of time to talk about it. So the 8 teams that will play in 2022 are split over 2 divisions, the North Division and the South Division. In the Northern Division, we have the Michigan Panthers, the New Jersey Generals, the Philadelphia Stars, and the Pittsburgh Maulers. In the Southern Division, we have the Birmingham Stallions. That's Birmingham, Alabama, not Birmingham, Midlands, England. That would be a different team. Houston Gamblers, New Orleans Breakers, and the Tampa Bay Bandits. The league will kick off in April of 2022 with games every Saturday and every Sunday during their 10-game season. I'm pretty excited about it. What do you think of the names? What do you think of the league? What do you think in general? 2 minutes.
So I think we briefly spoke pre-stream as to USFL wasn't something that really rolled off my tongue, although knowing about it, as we said, we discussed it previous. Something from way back in the 80s, right?
Yeah, just after you and I were both born, really, was when the USFL was a thing.
The names kind of scream Baffer, as in British American football, to me, with some of these, names after the cities and areas in the States.
I think some of the names in British American football are a tad bit more aggressive and well, good, frankly. Some of these names are a tad dodgy.
Yeah, like Swansea Hammerheads, get in there,
it's a
with
good
the
one.
name.
Yeah.
Absolutely, throwing the name out there. But yeah, it's a bit odd. I'm looking forward to having the spring league back. More football is good in that sense of having that gap after Super Bowl into, going back into pre-season. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm excited for it. The names leave a little bit to be desired, but they are original names from the original USFL.
Yes.
Not necessarily matched with the cities, but still the old names exist. They might have a problem with Michigan Panthers. I could see that one change, as Bazinga Ludlam has just said in the chat. Why reuse the Panthers name and copy Carolina? It's true. I think they may come into trouble there, and that may change. But I'm looking forward to spring football. It'd be good for us to have some more professional football to discuss after the NFL season. And they are playing all the games in a centralized location. So hopefully that means that every game will actually happen. They won't have to worry about logistics too much. So yeah, bring it on. I'm excited.
Yes, absolutely. Like I said, it fills that gap after Super Bowl, which is good for us. It's good for our show. Brings those numbers up.
means you have to put up with us for a little bit longer before we have a little off-season break.
Absolutely. Why not? Our faces for longer. That's what the people wanted. Anyway, we do move on from that USFL onto the NFL. And after a few weeks of giving the veteran running back new life, the Tennessee Titans have now released Adrian Peterson, as well as others, but Adrian Peterson being the biggest name on Tuesday, so yesterday. Is this the end of the line for Adrian? What do we think? 2 minutes on the clock.
It's tough, really. I was really hoping that Adrian Peterson would come in and thrive in Tennessee. I've said it several times on this show that I was thinking that Washington releasing him was a tad premature. They still had some legs left in him, for lack of a better term. But it does seem that now perhaps this is the end for him. No word of whether he's looking to try and get back on another team or whether he's seeking retirement, or maybe if he'll go into the USFL or the XFL when that reopens. If he still believes he can go, perhaps there is a place for him there. But he played 3 games for the Titans. In all, he rushed 27 times for 82 yards and 1 touchdown. Not the greatest of numbers when we have seen what can happen in Tennessee with the likes of Derrick Henry. So happy trails, Adrian. I think it's for the best that you have been moved on.
Yeah, I kind of feel for the guy. You know, Adrian is one of those names that have been touted around as, you know, future Hall of Famer. And I'm pretty sure, you know, eventually the guy will be, you know, enshrined in Canton.
Yeah.
Although we do know, you know, players going from finishing their careers to being Hall of Fame footballers can take a very, very long time. And I think there's quite a lot of bits surrounding, you know, your eligibility to go into the Hall of Fame, which I think Adrian himself has met criteria. But yeah, I do hope he finds a new team. Where, though, is the question at this stage of the season. I don't see him playing again this year, but maybe, like I said, USFL in the spring.
If someone's willing to pay him, I'm sure he'll give it a go.
Oh, it'd be a great it'd be a great name for a returning spring league. You know, big name. You know, NFL star going into the USFL. You know,
Yeah.
football for that guy. He's going to be fresh in the spring.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Just going back to the last conversation briefly, Bazinga Ludlam said, be interesting to see how it affects the Rock's plans with the XFL too. And I have seen some hype video that the XFL put out end of last month about their reboot. That's not coming in 2022 now. That's been put off to 2023. So the USFL will get a chance to have their league season run unchallenged for that first year, but it will be interesting to see how that goes, and we'll follow it as it goes. Can you imagine this podcast in the spring of 2023 having to talk about the USFL and the XFL? That'd be on cloud 9. That would be amazing.
That'd be incredible. You know, we'd be really like my turkey hat at this time of 2023 will be holographic. You know, look into the future.
We'll just get into our teleportation devices and do this show in person, obviously, because that's how the future will roll. But moving on, speaking of the future, future became a little bit uncertain once again for the potential of an NFL team in St. Louis. And this news is just in today. This is hot off the presses. And we discussed this a few weeks ago as well. But the NFL and Rams owner, Stan Kroenke, will pay $790 million to settle a lawsuit filed by the city of St. Louis over the team's relocation to Los Angeles. The settlement does not include a promise from the NFL to grant St. Louis an expansion franchise in the future, but it's also noted that the idea wasn't seriously discussed. So there's a chance, but it isn't mandated by law. So make of that what you will. What do we think of this news? 2 minutes, off we go.
Yeah, that guy Stan Kroenke's got a heck of a lot of money. Owns multiple sports teams globally. The one being in the UK, Arsenal Football Club, and the whole family. You know, him and his wife, mega multi-billionaires. Yeah, the guy's paid up. Does this affect the St. Louis idea of having the new franchise when the expansion comes? Who knows? We got to see where that plays out. Obviously, it's not going to be a given now. Was it ever really a given? We will never know. But yeah, fair enough. Stan's got the dollars. Stan's paid up. Leave the guy alone now. Yeah, that's my feelings about it all. He's done what he's had to do. St. Louis, yeah, he'll
And
probably get a team anyway.
he's got away with it fairly cheaply for my money.
Mm.
I mean, obviously $790 million is not a small amount of money, but to Stan Kroenke it is. And considering, if the lawsuit had have gone to court, he was on the hook for $1 billion,
Yes.
and potentially would have been responsible for financing a new team in St. Louis. I do think he's got away with it a little bit, and that St. Louis have let him off lightly. I do hope that they and other cities do get an expansion team. I think more teams in the NFL can only be a good thing. I know that's not the popular opinion, but it's my opinion, and I'm giving it to you now. I want more NFL teams. St. Louis works.
And I think as a good way to end that is have we do want more teams, and the number being pushed around is 40.
40 is a great number. Yeah.
And to have 20 regular season games.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think you need more regular season games. I think if you're up to 40 teams, just having a game or a couple of games on Saturdays, or have a game earlier in the day on the Sunday, so it's a quadruple header instead of a triple header.
Yeah, well, funnily enough, they have elevated 2 games in a couple of weeks to Saturday night football. My Patriots being one of them in one game. I think it's the game against the Colts. And I know the Raiders are in the other one on a Saturday. So it's a double header on a Saturday. Saturday night football is back.
Nice. Yeah. They tend to do that around Christmas time when there isn't competition from college football. That's what often gets in the way of the NFL playing on Saturday, because in many markets, college football is more popular than the NFL, especially in states where there are not NFL teams, like in Alabama, for example. So, in Oklahoma.
College football have massive stadiums. Some have twice the size of some of the NFL stadiums. So, you can see the popularity in the college game. So, but that's college. And, it's a very good game and a very good way to get into the big league. But we do keep on with the big leagues, and we are, into what we can see is coming into arguably the best week in the NFL calendar, and this is Thanksgiving weekend. Stuff your face with turkey and trimmings for the big guy in the red suit and all that malarkey next month.
We're not ready for him yet.
Not quite, but my garden is getting ready because my youngest, she wanted the Christmas lights out tonight. But we are going to get an update on our year-long prediction competition. And as is always now, in an untimed down, Jeremy, you're going to take us through the scores and the standings for what is currently your mini Lombardi.
Oh, I see. You've got a tiny amount of confidence now, have you? Just a tiny bit of confidence, because in the first time since I think week 1, you've actually won this week's prediction competitions. In regular competition, I only got 5 predictions correct, whereas you got a whopping 7.
Hooray!
So not exactly stellar work for either of us, but 2 more than me is a win. A dub's a dub, as they say.
Yeah, bit like the Bears and the Ravens game.
We don't talk about that. So adding in you bet, the bets were first was from the Dallas Cowboys at Kansas City Chiefs game. The question was, will there be over 71 points in the game? We both said yes, of course there will be. 2 high-powered offenses, they'll go nuts. No, very much not. So no points for either of us there. The second one was given to us by Duff, who stood in for you while you had no voice. And it was from the Giants and the Bucks game. The proposition was that Saquon Barkley would be the first touchdown scorer for the Giants and Chris Godwin would be the first touchdown scorer for the Bucks. We both said no, it wouldn't happen. Chris Godwin did his job. He scored the first touchdown for the Bucks. Saquon Barkley did not score the first touchdown for the Giants. In fact, Andrew Thomas, an offensive lineman, scored the first touchdown for the Giants. Did I say Bucks? I meant Giants. So we didn't quite get it right in terms of, you didn't say anything. You just said no. Whereas I went into a bit more detail about who I thought would be the first touchdown scorer. Andrew Thomas was not a name that jumped into my mind. Did not know the guy existed until he scored a touchdown. So we get a point there, a point each. So the total for week 11 is Jez 6, Matt 8. So still that 2 difference. Brings our total in the 2021 season to date to 104 points for me, 94 points for you. So you're now 10 behind. And it's not insurmountable, but you're probably going to struggle a little bit.
We'll see.
One win, and he's getting so excited about it.
We did hear on Sunday that you were going to have all the swag with the championship belt from what is now the main event podcast, the show with Dan.
Yes.
You were going to have the steering wheel under your arm from the F1 racing show.
Yeah.
And you were going to have the mini Lombardi, but things are starting to look a little bit shaky for you.
Well, thanks for butchering the names of the other 2 shows on this network. But yes, the main event podcast. I'm already the championship holder for that. I won that on Tuesday. That's mine now, at least for the next quarter, until after the Royal Rumble in January. So that's 1. That's the shoulder complete. Things are still looking good here for my Lombardi, and I've still got it right now. So as of next week, I'll have 2 at least. Yes. And then the F1 season finishes in mid-December. So I'll know by then whether my Christmas present will be dripped in gold, as it were.
A steering wheel for the armpit.
Might just get myself a gold chain and a gold tooth to go with it,
Why not? Absolutely.
Just to
go all out.
Bring the bling all together and go all out. Yeah.
Can't wait.
So don't get excited yet. I can see that winning one of these weeks has gone to your head, but try not to let it. Wouldn't want you to be disappointed.
It's gone to the turkey.
Straight to the turkey leg.
Straight to the turkey.
Right, well, digressions aside, we'll predict the Thanksgiving games and do a You Bet at the end of the show. But the bulk of this episode, our special Thanksgiving episode, is going to be a mid-season-ish review. We'd like an ish on this show. So we're going to look at all of the records of all the teams so far. Going to do so by division. And we're just going to have a little general chat about the state of the teams, whether they are where we expected, who's doing well, who's not. Just generally chat the teams through. So we're going to kick off first with the teams of the AFC North. So give us the records and give us your thoughts. 2 minutes.
Yeah, so currently in the AFC North, you've got the Ravens on 7-3, the Bengals 6-4, Steelers 5-4-1 with that god-awful tie game, and the Browns sitting on 6-5. It sits about right for me with the Ravens top of the North, pretty much on target to go to the off season. Yeah, it's a little bit shaky in the middle. Bengals, yeah, it's probably about right. The Steelers are just, I don't know, they're there and thereabouts as always. Browns 6-5. Yeah, it's the AFC North is pretty much always competitive, but I kind of expected the Steelers to be pushing the Ravens a bit more, but that's not happening.
Yeah, I think of all of the divisions, this one has kind of met my expectations the most. When I look at this record, this is probably the closest to as I predicted before the season began. The only real shock there for me is the Bengals. I expected them to improve on last year, but they really have exceeded expectations. Joe Burrow's having a fantastic year. Having a shiny new receiver helped that. It was touch and go as to whether that would happen as we came through the preseason into the first couple of weeks. Jamar Chase was having some dropping issues, and we wondered if the dream would be dead and they didn't have any offensive linemen to lean on because they overlooked them in the draft. So yeah, there or thereabouts. I think the Steelers really should look at their quarterback situation. Numbers could be slightly further in their favour if they had somebody decent under centre instead of Big Ben. But thought the Ohio teams would have switched, said Bazinga, but Burrows to Chase has been a great partnership. Yeah, I think you're pretty much on board with what I was saying there. Yeah, expected the Browns to be doing better than the Bengals for sure, but they're not.
No. But we do move to the other North, and it's your North. It's your NFC North. What do we think of the state of the NFC North with what does include your beloved Chicago Bears? Let's put 2 minutes up.
Yes, my beloved 3-7 Chicago Bears, which is about where I expected them to be. And that's all I'm going to say about them. I think the Packers are doing better than I expected. As much as I would have enjoyed them having a washout year, I didn't expect them to do so well with all of the drama that Aaron Rodgers caused for them in the off season. 8-3 is really good for them, so kudos there, I suppose. Vikings are about where was expected. Slightly disappointing that they aren't doing slightly better with how their defense played last year. I think the running game hasn't been quite as consistent for them this year as it has last year. Dalvin Cook has had off weeks, and he's had weeks off with injury as well. So, but perhaps the biggest shock is the Lions. Didn't expect the Lions to be playoff bound, but no wins. Ouch. Well, no wins yet. We'll see what happens tomorrow. That's where they get their first win, I'm sure. Early prediction there.
Oh, yeah. Early prediction thrown in there. Yeah, the Green Bay Packers for sure. You know, they are there. Aaron Rodgers, like you said, kind of threw all of his toys out of the pram pre-season. Oh, I'm not going to go Green Bay. And what happened with him a couple of weeks ago with the COVID situation, he sat that game. But he's back, proving his worth for Green Bay. They did have the loss to the Vikings on Sunday. Vikings with Kirk Cousins, I kind of expected them to be a bit more in the plus 500. The Bears, I'm slightly disappointed in your Bears because I thought just maybe, they had something going. But yeah, the Lions are where I expected.
Yeah, fire Nagy. The Bears will always be this kind of record under Matt Nagy, and even Ryan Pace, get rid of him as well.
I think that could be a breaking news story, couldn't it, tomorrow, if social media is correct with it floating around that Matt Nagy is going to be very much in the hottest seat in the NFL.
It depends who you believe, but yes. Yeah. Maybe we'll circle back to that when we talk about the Bears game tomorrow. Yeah, the Bears game that's happening tomorrow, but we'll talk about it a bit later. Yeah,
it is. Yes.
Mixing up my timing there, but we will move on. we need to be neater and keep this within 2 minutes. We're being a bit naughty there. So the next division up on the discussion plate is the AFC West. Usually an exciting division. What do we think this year so far? 2 minutes.
Well, it's a bit of same old. Chiefs 7-4, Chargers 6-4, Raiders 5-5, Broncos 5-5. Chiefs not really impressing me at all this year, considering what they've done the last couple of years with Patrick Mahomes. Chargers 6-4 is about where I expected them after week 11. Raiders, they could be a bit better, but sitting on 500. Broncos, kind of going above and beyond what I expected of them at this point, considering their situation with the team they have around them. Yeah, it is where it is. Chiefs will come out as West winners and progress to playoffs.
Yeah, there was a point in which it seemed that wouldn't be the case. It does look like Mahomes is back in the saddle now, but there were a few off weeks, and you wondered if the Chiefs were going to make it through to win the AFC West, let alone make playoffs by any other method. But they seem to be back on track now. 7-4 is really good considering the troubles that they've had this year. I'm with you that the Chargers and the Raiders are pretty much where I expected. And the Broncos are about where I expected preseason. But I think ignoring that and just looking at what's happened this season, I think the Broncos are a better team than 5-5. I think they have had some unlucky moments. And Bridgewater's played well, considering they came into this year not really knowing what they were going to get out of the quarterback position, or who would even be under centre. So, shocking really that they're only at 5-5, given how well they've played, especially defensively.
Yes. But yeah, AFC West is where it should be, right?
It's definitely one of the top divisions, yeah.
Next we move on to the other West, and it is the NFC West. What do we think of this? What's the record sitting currently?
Yeah, this is the division that has probably one of the biggest shocks for me. The Cardinals 9-2, Rams 7-3, 49ers 5-5, and here's my shock: the Seahawks are sat at 3-7. I didn't expect them to be, high-rising playoff bound initially, or instinctively, but 3-7 is bad, and that is owed completely to the fact that Russell Wilson went down with injury. Not only that period of time that he missed, but the time before that, when he was pretty much driven into the ground constantly, that caused the injury in the first place, had no protection from his offensive line whatsoever, and was one of the major reasons that he was not apparently looking to get out of town last year. But it is a shock. I think everywhere else is pretty much where they should be, other than the Cardinals exceeding expectations. Expecting them to be a whole lot better than last year, but maybe not that much better. Kudos to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Kudos to the Cardinals. 9-2 is super impressive considering where they were sat last year. And for sure, they're going to run out NFC West winners and probably number one seeds in the NFC. Rams, yeah, they've improved too. 7-3. 49ers, I kind of letting it slip a little bit, although they have had quite a few impressive games and picked up some impressive wins the last couple of weeks. Like you said, Seahawks. What is going on in Seattle? 3-7 is not Seahawks territory.
No, and I think that the 49ers, for the second year in a row, have had some injury problems. Not to the same extent as last year, but
no, gosh, no.
But yeah, about where I expected. From the chat, Colt McCoy has been good, taking the reins from Kyler as well. Didn't expect that. Absolutely, no argument from me. Struggled a little bit in last week's game. Didn't put out the same performance as he did in his first start of the year, but exceeded expectations. When to go from Kyler Murray to Colt McCoy, you expect a massive drop off, and he held it together that first week especially. So
yes.
We now move to the division closest to your heart in the AFC East, from west to east, going clear across the country. 2 minutes. Give us the records.
Yeah, so the Patriots were boosted up to top of the East, the AFC East, sitting on 7-4. The Bills, after their loss, fell to 6-4. The Dolphins 4-7, and the Jets on 2-8. Jets are kind of where I expected, with their changes at quarterback. Zach Wilson comes back free this week as QB1. Whether that helps them, not sure. Dolphins aren't as impressive as I thought they could be, considering they beat the Patriots in week 1. Bills, kind of where they are, is where they are. Little bit of fall from grace at the moment, but I'm not writing them off to win the East. And the Patriots are kind of exceeding my expectations. But yeah, Mac Jones and, well, especially the defense, are putting up some big wins. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the Patriots are definitely the story of the AFC East, exceeding my expectations. I didn't think they were going to have as bad a season as last season, but I also didn't expect them to have quite the winning record that they do right now. I expected them to be somewhere in that 5-5 kind of region at this point. Defensively, I think, is where you've changed the most. I think having a lot of those players back from the COVID holdout of 2020 is probably the big difference. And Mac Jones has been fine, and that's really all you needed him to do. Doesn't need to be good, just needs to be not bad. So kudos there.
Yeah, and just I know I'm being a little bit naughty running over the next 4 games for the Patriots falls. We've got the Titans, then followed Bills the week after, Colts after that, and then the Bills game again.
So you could be 7-8 by the time that run is over then.
Could be 7-8, but we could also be quite handsomely, at 11-4. So
some tough games though. Don't count your chickens.
Massively tough games. I kind of expect 2 wins out of there.
We'll see. It's discussion for another day.
But we do move to the NFC East, which is competitive, right? It usually is, and it's kind of proving a little bit so this year. What do you reckon of the NFC East? Let's put 2 minutes up.
It used to be competitive. It's not anymore. Still several losing records in this division, same as last year. Doesn't look quite as bad. Like, the Giants have already got more wins now than I think they did in the entirety of last season. So it's a good job there. Cowboys, while I expected them to be a lot better than 2020 and come out of the season overall with a winning record, I think that they have exceeded expectations. And Dak settled back in immediately and went on a tear. Last week against the Chiefs, accepted. There are a few injuries starting to creep up in that Cowboys offense that are causing problems, but they're doing very well. Eagles improving under Jalen Hurts. That was always going to happen. Washington, they still need more players. They need more talent on their team. And the Giants need overhauling from top to bottom. This is not news.
Yeah, like you said, the Cowboys are pretty much sitting where they should be in the NFC East. That's where they usually sit, is the top of the NFC East. Eagles, like you said, Jalen Hurts has been an absolute star turn for me personally this year for them. Kind of like switching on, I pretty much think that record is going to go to 500 when they play next. Washington, well, they made playoffs last year. Will they make playoffs this year? Not quite sure yet. But that's coming from, as you dubbed me on Sunday, a closet football team fan. Definitely,
100%.
yeah. Kind of believing in the Washington football team. Giants just doing Giants things, picking up more wins than they deserve.
Yeah, some good wins and some
Oh
awful
yeah,
losses.
just crazy. Yeah, just crazy. It's like we've said though so many times that you can go into a game on a Sunday and it can be any given Sunday for a result.
But it wasn't any given Monday for them on Monday night, unfortunately.
No.
And just to update from last Sunday, where Duff put his money where his mouth was with his Giants against Always Be Chatting's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Duff now owes Always Be Chatting a Subway sandwich or a fish and chips, whatever they decide.
Yeah, flip a coin. What do you want? Always Be Chatting? Would you like fish and chips, or would you like a Subway sandwich? I
We
don't
have
know what
got.
the
Sorry.
I don't know what the fish and chips are like down with you. See, I've never really.
We're
I
next
think
to the sea, mate. They're fantastic.
The last time I was down with you, it was a Chinese stakeout.
Well, the one down the road from me.
Absolutely, and it was absolutely blinking brilliant.
Yeah, it's good. It's one of the best Chinese takeaways that I have been to in the entire country, and I'm not just saying that because it's 100 yards from my house. Now, 2 divisions left.
Yes,
we're going south first. The AFC South. Take us through the standings. Shocking results in this division. What do you think?
So yeah, you've got Titans 8-3. They've had some weird results in the loss column this year, but that's kind of where they're at. Big game coming up this week against the Patriots. See where that plays out for both teams. Colts at 6-5. They picked up an interesting result on the weekend, which was unexpected in my opinion. Texans looking a little bit shaky, but with what's gone on with them, with their quarterback situation, not really surprising at 2-8. And the Jags, poor Trevor Lawrence. I think we discussed this week. It's a possibility of Trevor Lawrence going elsewhere in next year.
Nope, never going to happen.
I think I said Urban Meyer might go first. But yeah, both Texans and the Jags on 2-8. About where I expected.
Yeah, I suppose the question for you in terms of the Patriots is: are the Patriots a good team or a bad team? Because the Titans beat the good teams and lose to the bad teams. It's inexplicable. Their losses have come. The 2 main losses have come from the Texans and the Jets.
Yeah.
Who you would not expect to beat a team the caliber of the Titans. They need to sort that kind of stuff out if they have any hope of making it through the playoffs. Otherwise, they will be out in the early rounds as they have been for several years. Colts don't deserve that record. They're not that good. And the Texans and the Jags are about where I was expecting. I was thinking there would be a little bit more out of the Jags. I would have had them in 3rd position in the AFC South with maybe 3 or 4 wins, but they haven't played well. They haven't played well at all.
No. And one of those Jags wins came at Totty House, didn't it?
It did indeed, yeah. I saw it on television.
Absolutely. It was the weekend after you went, wasn't it?
That's right.
You went to the Jets game. So yes, we do digress, and we move to the last of the divisions, and that's the NFC South. Let's bring people up to date with the standings and what we think of that. Let's put 2 minutes up.
I'm going to say the words Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which should someone always be chatting, usually turns up about 2 minutes after we first said the words
Probably.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But they sit at the top of the division at 7-3, about where I expected. They came into this season as champions, but still with high expectations and still with a few of the problems that they carried in from last year. So 7-3 is about where I would have expected them to be at this point in the season. That's pretty spot on. Saints are exceeding expectations, as far as I'm concerned, being that they have played with no quarterback for the majority of the year. Yes, I'm saying that Jameis Winston is not a quarterback. He is backup at best. Panthers exceeding expectations, but are struggling to keep that momentum going that they picked up at the beginning of the year. And the Falcons is, they are there. Maybe more wins than I was expecting for the Falcons.
Yeah, well, the Bucks seem to just have, again, they lost to the Washington football team, which I don't think either of us called a couple of weeks ago. Saints 5-5, kind of missing that big name quarterback. But is it Simeon, their QB now?
Yep. The savior, Trevor Simeon.
Yeah, but the guy didn't get paid. Somebody else did. Panthers have got Cam Newton back. They'll probably pick up another couple of wins. They could easily go for another 5 wins. Falcons just doing Falcons things, not flying so high or rising up as they do. Hey, the NFC South.
Gotta rise up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Samuel L. Jackson used to say relentlessly on their big screens in the stadium.
Yeah,
that every 10 seconds.
That didn't work for them last week, did it?
No, and it's probably because they've given up that now. When I went to see the Falcons at Totty House, it was a home game for them, so it was all of their graphics and stuff. And rather than Samuel L. Jackson shouting "Rise up" constantly, the announcer just loves to repeat "It's third down" over and over and over again, very loudly, and the Falcon screeches every time they get a first down, which is really obnoxious. So the little I like the Falcons has gotten even worse after going to one of their home games because it was painful for my ears, frankly.
Can imagine.
But that was our very brief kind of whip round the league, looking at the standings, where they stand, and just discussing where we think that they are compared to where we thought they would be at the beginning of the season. At the end of the season, we'll look through at our predicted records, or rather, we predicted whether they would be higher or lower than they were last season, and we'll see if that was correct. But by then, I'll have already won my Lombardi, so it'll be all good.
I'll turn it with massive playing cards, you know.
Yeah, play a bit of
that game was.
Bruce's Cards Are Right. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I'll come dressed as Brucey. No, go back.
I'd pay to see that, actually. Razor sharp grey mustache.
Let's well, it's already turning grey down here. Why not up here?
Now on to the meat of the show. Let's see what I did there. We are going to preview the Thanksgiving games, 3 of them on Thanksgiving Day tomorrow, and slightly earlier start than usual on a Sunday. The first game is at 5:30 p.m. UK time, which is 12:30 Eastern in the United States, and that is my Chicago Bears traveling to Detroit to face the Lions in their traditional home game that they get every single Thanksgiving. And boy, am I lucky that the Bears are heading in there, and the world will be watching, because it will be the only game of American football on at that point. Said earlier, Lions win. That's the prediction I am sticking with as I drop 2 minutes on the clock for you to either agree or argue that point. Here we go.
Yes, I was gonna kind of agree with you, but why do the Lions always seem to play on Thanksgiving? Is it something that's I've just
Yeah,
never
it's
got
a
the tradition?
tradition. They've since like 1920 or 30 or 40, 1940 when they were put in. Yeah, it's always been
That's
them on
just
Thanksgiving.
that's just stupid. It should be like the Cowboys or the Patriots, being America's team.
The
Anyway, I don't.
Cowboys do get it. They get the second game. That's always the Cowboys hosting.
Where's the Patriots? I don't want to play Thursday anyway. Did that last week. Um. Anyway, will the Lions pull off a famous Turkey Day win? Maybe they get the trimmings, but we'll see. Maybe a little bit of gravy. But it's Andy Dalton in at quarterback, and he wasn't too great on Sunday. Although he did have that really, long bomb Hail Mary that was scored right. I did see a little bit of that game, which disappointed me because they should have won that. However, my feelings and my prediction goes to the Bears, and the Bears win.
No, because you look at the game from this past weekend, the Ravens game. We were playing a backup quarterback. We were beating them. We held them at bay for the majority of the game, and then, as often happens with the Bears, they outcoached themselves. They left too much time on the clock again and allowed, what was his name? Something Huntley. We don't even know the guy's name. And he went on a massive tear, scored a game-winning drive, and won the game with nothing left for the Bears to do. Like, I'm glad it's Andy Dalton because I think Justin Fields just needs to have a rest for the rest of the season and wait for Matt Nagy to be fired. Yeah. Like, the Bears season is over. They're not making the playoffs. So, it's done. The Lions are going to win. They're going to pick up their first win of the season. It's going to be such a great story for them.
Or they go to 0-10-1.
No. 1-9-1.
1-9-1.
Symmetry. 1-9-1. It's a bit of symmetry there.
Absolutely. But no, I just think.
Welcome in, future Wolfington. Rodgers has COVID toe, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this, Matt, but Aaron Rodgers has now turned to showing his feet at press conferences. I don't know if he's setting up his future career on OnlyFans for when he retires from the NFL, but...
that's gross. Nobody would pay for that.
You'd be surprised what people pay for.
Yeah. I've seen all the news stories. It's fine. But yes, welcome, future Wolfington. I did see the breaking news today. Welcome to the network from me. Yes, nice to have you on board. Long-term fan and long-term commentator or commentor on the on a lot of the stream. So yes, welcome aboard.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yes, we do slightly digress from Aaron Rodgers and his,
Yeah, from Aaron Rodgers' toes to future Wolfington. What a segue.
Absolutely. But that moves me on to the Cowboys, right?
Smooth.
But yes, absolutely. 9:30 p.m. UK time. That's getting a little bit late for Thursday night for me. 4:30 Eastern. Raiders travel to the Cowboys. Let's put 2 minutes up.
Yeah, you old man. Right. Oh, not 9:30. That's too late for me. Anyway, the Cowboys are coming off a tough loss to the Chiefs. As I said a bit earlier, injuries are starting to creep up for the Cowboys, and that's ruining their stellar season. But their running game is still on point, and I think Dak Prescott can still put the ball around to whoever he's got left. He just ran into Patrick Mahomes. That exploited the Cowboys' defense a little bit and started to get back to form. I don't think the Raiders are quite as capable of doing that, even though their pass defense is rated first in the NFL for yards per catch, at around 9 point something or other. But unless you're actually going to prevent the Cowboys from catching the ball at all, I don't think it matters how much they carry when they do catch the ball. Don't see the Raiders beating the Cowboys in Jerry World. Cowboys win on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and I'm going to agree. It's an easy-ish call here for me. And although the Cowboys only did put up 9 on Kansas City, which is probably a scoregami, right? 19-9.
You and your
And I do love.
scoregami.
Oh, I love it. I didn't see that one. The other score that was on there was the scoregami with the Colts game against the Bills. That was the scoregami. But Dak Prescott did take the flak for. He took it personally and said, I've got to perform better. But in this one, I think the Cowboys are going to start giddying up again. And yeah, Cowboys are going to win and win big.
Yes, it's different for you to not be choosing the Raiders. You tend to go with the Raiders more often than not. But
I do, yes. I just think
sentimental value and all that.
I think Raiders are, apparently Derek Carr is starting to look like one of the villains from, Home Alone. First ever one. Yeah.
What, one of the sticky bandits or the wet bandits or whatever they were called?
Bandits, yeah. With the brown hair, yeah. Bit of a fluff on top now.
Marv?
Yeah.
Was Marv the tall one?
Marv, that's the one, yeah. Derek Carr is Marv.
Right, just dropping Home Alone knowledge left, right, and centre out here,
Well, it's festive season, right? Almost.
Yeah, not until after this weekend. You can hold out, Matt. It's only a few more days.
Absolutely.
Gonna make sure I've got a packet of mince pies on standby for Sunday as soon as our family Thanksgiving dinner is done with. Like, right now we can Christmas. Bring on the mince pies.
Yes. Absolutely. Famous for the mince pie munching.
Tiny pies, future Wolfington. Okay, moving on to our third and final game on Thanksgiving. It's at 1:20 a.m. UK time, which I will admit is even a bit late for me. For this young pup compared to you and as an old man, it's even a bit late for me. But in the States, it is 8:20 p.m., so not quite so bad. And the New Orleans Saints will travel to upstate New York to face the Buffalo Bills. What do you think's going to happen? 2 minutes.
Well, Buffalo started to be a little bit too inconsistent for me. And it all kind of seems to be crumbling for Buffalo, which is delightful for me as a Patriots fan.
Thought you might say that.
Which is, I'm really thankful for, considering it's, Thanksgiving. But no, I will not be staying up for this one because I will be fast asleep. But who wants to see the Bills win the AFC anyway? The East anyway. For me, it's going to be it's the show of shows. It's going to be the Saints beating the Bills. It's going to be close, but the Saints get it done with Simeon.
I agree with you in that it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a competitive game, especially considering we've learned in the last few weeks that Josh Allen is human after all. He had another week with normal numbers last week. 209 yards, 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions against the Colts of all teams. And you could say that that's the Colts playing well, but I think it's a general story from the last few games. In the last 3 games, he's only had 4 touchdowns and he's had 5 interceptions, which is not what we'd come to expect from Josh Allen at all. But I think in this game, both teams could do well to get their running games going, each of them. But on the flip side, each of the defenses are very good against the run as well. So it's just going to be a case of who can score the most points for me. And I I can see Josh Allen, even with the faults that have developed in the last few weeks, putting up more points than Trevor Siemian and the Saints. So I'm going Bills.
Oh,
At the buzzer.
Disagreement. What's this Thanksgiving for? Disagreement? Why not? Until those mince pies get cracked out, there'll be disagreement.
And there'll be disagreement then too, because there are some crazy people out there that don't like them.
Oh, that's criminal.
Yeah. Now, I'm going to introduce You Bet, but I must admit, I forgot to collect a You Bet, so I'm just going to make one up on the spot right now as the intro is playing. Yeah, so here's the sting. I'll get my brain going.
The turkey's dancing. The turkey is dancing.
I appreciate your attempt to fill time there with dancing turkeys, but it's not necessary. I've got my You Bet from my brain. I'm writing it down. But would you like to do yours first?
Yeah, we used to have dancing turkey. Twerky.
Yeah.
What happened to Twerky?
He died.
Oh,
yeah,
should have brought him out for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Anyway, we do digress. But yes, this is You Bet, the now traditional segment of our show, where we do make bets and we simply answer yes or no, and that's a terrible, dissection of what Jeremy usually does.
But I think you were pretty good, mate. I think you pretty much summed that up verbatim.
Absolutely. Why not? With it being,
feeling generous. It's Thanksgiving.
Past 10 p.m. UK time. And Jeremy gets the day off bar doing a little bit of work, yet I've got to work all blinking day tomorrow. Anyway, my bet does come from the 3 turkey game days.
Turkey game days?
Yeah, that one. Day games. And the question is, will there be 18 touchdowns combined over the games in question?
You're making me math
18
again.
18 touchdowns.
Okay. So I think the Bears score 3, Lions score 3. That's 6.
Yeah.
Raiders and Cowboys and 5. You know what? I'm going to say yes. You can hear my brain going again, can't you? Like, you can see the steam coming out of my ears as well. I'm going yes, because I think the only game that the only team that may let that down is the Raiders. I don't see them scoring very much on the Cowboys, but all of the other teams, yes, I think we're going to see some high scoring shootout between the Saints and the Bills. May end up being a shootout between the Bears and the Lions as well, because both teams are bad. So yeah, I'm going yes for this one.
Do you know, seeing as it's Turkey Day, and it's going to be, a good day for football, as is tradition, I'm going to go yes as well. I think it's going to be a fantastic Turkey Day for football.
Let's hope so. Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Although now that we've both said yes, the point won't matter. We will either both get a point or we won't, so it won't make any difference, the predictions at all.
Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be disagreement on your You Bet, don't worry.
There may be. My bet comes from the Saints and Bills game. The question is, will Josh Allen throw more touchdowns than interceptions in the game?
Do you know, I'm going to go with his recent form and how he just seems to have, everything seems to have gone to pot for the guy, which I do not feel sorry for him, although he is a good quarterback. I'm going to say Josh Allen will throw more interceptions than touchdowns.
Okay, so your answer is no, then. He will not throw more touchdowns than interceptions. Okay, well, I was going to say no as well, because I think he will probably do much the same as last week and throw the same amount of touchdowns as he does interceptions. But just to be different and to try and pick up an extra point and edge away from you a little bit further in the predictions, I'm going to say yes, he will. He'll somehow blunder through the Saints and score maybe 3 touchdowns and only throw 2 interceptions. The dream.
The dream. Believe in Josh Allen, right?
Believe in mediocrity and
Absolutely.
and not. Maybe he won't throw an interception at all. Maybe we're being harsh. Maybe he will turn it around. But the Saints' pass defense isn't really something to laugh at. So
no,
there'll be at least one interception, I would suggest.
Yeah. But the real question here is does anybody really care about the Buffalo Bills anymore?
Yeah, I do. I still care about them. I care about them the most in that division that's got your terrible team in it. So
they're not so terrible anymore. That's what stings.
Team of terrible cheaters. Terrible cheaters. Sorry. Yeah, I misspoke. My bad.
We can't cheat anymore. We haven't got Tom Brady.
That's true. He was one of the major culprits in the cheating. I will give you that.
Yes.
But there we go. That is our extra show getting ready for Thanksgiving in the NFL. The world prefers the Bills to the Cheatriots. There you go, Bazinga. Mic drop. What a moment to end it on. What a statement to end on. You'd love to love it.
Sorry, Bazinga Ludlam. Your comment was blocked. I didn't see that.
It's right there. It's right there underneath your name, underneath your face.
Right, I seen it. Yeah.
It also says bravo, you chaps, and happy Turkey Day for tomorrow from Tamsin. Thank you very much. Happy Turkey Day to everybody. Anybody out there that celebrates Thanksgiving, or even if they don't, just have yourself a great Thursday. Go out there and enjoy. You know?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't do sport, and even I know we hate the Patriots. There you go, Harmstone. That's probably the greatest thing you've ever said. The most accurate and exciting thing you've ever said. I'm thankful for all of the Patriots hate, so we close this out. This has been 2 Minute Warning. I've been Jez. That's been Matt. We'll see you on Sunday to get ready for the rest of Week 12. Say goodbye, Matt.
Goodbye, Matt.
Harsh. What did Cranberry do to you?